Kia dealer in the state, Boomer Kia. We have better selection, so you get better deals.
With approved credit with KMF, deferred payments by dealer. Interested approved date of sale plus tax tag and license. Expires 3/5/22 based on 2021 total sales.
Here's Brooke Burke for Skechers' new workout walker footwear.
Do you know the world's #1 most popular form of exercise? It's walking. So you'd think that there would be tons of performance sneakers specifically made for walking, but there aren't. However, one company has you covered. Skechers, the
40
comfort
seconds.
technology company, with their newest performance walking sneaker, Skechers Workout Walker. And it takes walking footwear to new heights. Because Skechers Workout Walker is fully loaded with all the technology you need to get the most out of your walk. It starts with a carbon-infused plate in the sole to add more spring to your step. Plus, it has Skechers Hyperburst.
These are pros. I'm not worried about it. These are pros.
Plus, workout walkers feature Goodyear rubber for enhanced traction and durability. And
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Oklahoma City Public School Coaches Show. I'm Maurice Prince tonight, standing in for the normal dapper in his own right, Michael McDaniel, but I'm here this evening. We're at our host location, Dick's Sporting Goods, 6601 Southwest 3rd Street in Oklahoma City. And of course, you need to come on out here. Why? Because we have outstanding athletes and we've got an outstanding show for you tonight. Now, remember, if you did not know, let me just tell you right here, you might want to zoom in on me on this one. You have a chance to win free prizes just for showing up. So come on out, support the kids, learn a little bit more about the craft that they are developing and the coaching staffs that make them. Up tonight, you will have Northwest Classon's cheer squad, and then we'll hear a little bit later on from the Classon SAS boys team. Joining me immediately, starting right off this show this afternoon, I want to tell you that I've got some all-conference talent here. I've got unbelievable skill here tonight. And so, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, let me introduce you to the Northwest Classton Cheer Squad. I have all-conference cheerleaders. Senior, Lily Harmon. Then I've got junior, Angelia Beaufort. And, of course, their ACAC Coach of the Year, Callie Seipert, is also at the table this evening. First of all, congratulations to you ladies being all conference. Congratulations to you, Coach. I want to start off, Coach, real quick. Tell me about your journey, of course, being an OU graduate to Northwest Classen.
Yeah, so my senior year at OU, I was really evaluating what do I want to do with this degree, what do I want to do after I graduate, and I started looking into education. I started learning more in some classes that I was in that last semester and really trying to figure out how I could get to that. And then I had a year where I was not teaching, and then COVID, and then I moved back to Oklahoma City and started applying for jobs and found Northwest Classen and got into their English department, and then the cheer program became available to me and I snatched it up as fast as I possibly could.
Your energy is infectious, and that's something that you said before we started the show today that's been with you for a long time. When did that love for cheerleading actually begin?
I started cheering Pee Wee cheer when I was 4 years old, I think, in Waxahachie, Texas, and cheered through high school, and now I have these guys.
All right, these young ladies here, the student athletes that, of course, at the core of it, Angelia Beaufort and Lily Harmon. First of all, Angelia, let's come to you first. Where did the cheerleading drive come from? Is it just something that naturally gravitated to you, or was it something that you'd seen it and you're like, I can do that? Where did it come from?
So I've been cheering since I was in like elementary, and my mom was actually a cheerleader in like high school and stuff. So I think it really came from like just watching cheer and seeing that my mom was a cheerleader and just different things like that.
Lily, what about you? Where did the love come from?
Well, honestly, I just started cheering last year when I was a junior, and I decided to try out because my friend, I thought that she did it really well. So I thought it would be fun to try it. And I had liked dancing, so I thought it was a little bit similar. So I decided to try for cheerleading.
Is the core for both of you, is the core of cheerleading fun? Is that really what draws you to it? Or is it the ability to bond with the other ladies on your team and be able to, you know, energize a crowd or energize a situation? What really is the spark? What is it that you really love most about it?
I would say the people is really great, and like being able to just give off positive energy to different people is really good.
What about you, Lily?
I think working as a team and like being able to participate in a crowd situation is something that's very in the moment that you can do, and it just feels very uplifting to be able to do that, to entertain a crowd.
Coach Cyper, going back to you, when you engraved on them, you said from since Pee Wee, when you started Pee Wee Cheer, what was the first thing you said to the young ladies when you stepped in as head cheer coach and you stepped in there and you said, okay, what was the main message you wanted to convey to them?
I think I don't know what they remember, but the first thing that I remember having a conversation at the beginning of the year, we had our first meeting, and I came in, and then I think I immediately gave them high expectations and said, "Hey, I don't know what we're doing this year. I have to figure out this coaching thing in this district, but we're competing. This is a competing squad, and we are going to be on a competition map very soon." And I know her mom clapped. They were very excited, and just elevating that expectation really got them excited and their parents excited, and it started out our season really
What I,
high note.
what I found in cheerleading is that it's infectious. Once the energy starts, it goes from moment to moment, game to game, and then there's a unique bond that forms. Ladies, in your time in cheering, what was the moment you knew that something different was going on this season?
For me, all the other years that I've been on cheer, I would say this is the best year that I've ever had in high school since Coach Cyper came in. And I think that Coach Cyper is a great like coach for Northwest Classen.
And for you, Lily?
Well, I suppose it was having, I don't know, seeing all the things that she wanted to do and how I've seen cheer the previous years. It was so different than what I was used to, but it was nice.
Everybody gets to see the finished product when you're out there in the game situation. So let's back it up and talk about a little bit about the work that has to go in before that. So, Coach, let me ask you, what does a good cheer session look like in practice? What does it look like? How did you know, or how do you know that we're actually improving? How do you know that things are going a little the way that they should?
I think my biggest indicator at the end of a practice was this a good practice. I could always tell because they were excited and they were like, "Did you see that? Did you?" And they were always excited about what they had accomplished. And so whether or not I felt like we had made a stride that day or that week or whatever it was, they would get excited about something, and I'm like, "We are making progress." If I can see it in their faces, if I can see it in the way they walk out of practice, I can feel that we're making those steps.
Lily, in what game or or what time did you know that you said that you saw the difference, felt the difference, but when did you actually see everything start to open up and become real?
Well, honestly, I think it was the first game that we did like stun set. I really saw like the difference in confidence that everybody had about like everybody's skill and whatnot, because the second that the stun came down, everybody clapped and everybody is so excited about it. And I think that's something that like I really saw and like embraced in that moment, that like everything had changed from there.
Angelia?
I would say the same thing. The first time we ever hit a stunt in practice and at a game, it was so much excitement around the team, and I could tell that Coach Cyper was happy because the team was happy, and we hit the stunt, and it was just really great.
And what you start to notice when that confidence overflows, Coach, is that now everybody, instead of saying, the cheerleaders, now where are the cheerleaders? We need that energy that they're going to bring. And to me, the request is small little validation of the success.
Absolutely. I started having people I didn't know come find me in the bleachers and say, they look amazing, they're doing great, and just giving me those affirmations that they were doing so well. And I would tell them in practice the next day, and they would freak out. And of course, at that point, I was pregnant and hormonal, so I was crying. I was like, I'm so proud of you guys. But yeah, just, I mean, people, admin and people I didn't know and their parents started coming up to me telling me how good they looked. And it was really nice to hear for me, but it was also really cool to get to tell them, hey, I had 6 people come up to me at the game last night to tell me how good you guys were.
Angelia, you know, how important or when did you know you had support of the student body all of a sudden? I mean, it usually happens like fireworks. Everybody all of a sudden starts talking, and the student section at any Oklahoma City public school event is already rowdy anyway because the students are going to cheer and make. But now they're wanting you to do certain cheers. They want certain things. How did that feel?
It definitely felt different because the other years we didn't really have like the push to do better and cheer, and just the crowd like involving themselves and like clapping and recording us, and it was just great like having the crowd actually involved with like us as a team.
Lily, you're nodding your head, so that means I'm on to something here. So when did you know the student body was kind of was into what the cheerleaders are doing? I mean, obviously you're looking at the scoreboard. I mean, obviously, I mean, a team winning is easy to cheer for, but when did you know that the student body was behind the cheer squad?
I guess it would be when I actually saw them like cheering for us after we got done. Like we would get done with like a cheer or something like that, and I would hear the crowd like participate and like be joyous of it. And I think that's when I like really recognized that like people are actually paying attention to us now.
Yeah, and again, it always helps, of course, winning, but now the cheer squad can also spark things because what anybody will say who participates in sports is energy in a room can change any situation. And you ladies are always on the front line, whether they're winning or whether they're losing, you've always got to bring the energy. Where did the drive come from? And before you ladies step out on the floor that night, what does the coach tell you? Because some games, you know, there's going to be a packed house. Sometimes it may not be a packed house. But what's your mentality when you step on that floor when you get out there?
I think really our mentality is to just cheer on the team and bring them positive energy to help them push for their game, and just have the crowd participate and have them participate with the teams as well. I think that's a great like way of bringing like positive energy.
Lily, would you agree with that?
I agree. I also think that like us like telling ourselves to have fun as well. Like to not just cheer but to also have fun.
Oh, yeah, Coach Cyper, it's all about the fun. I know that. It's a party when she gets going. Coach, I want to look behind the scenes a little bit on that. When we start talking about being a good cheerleader, to me, something that you said early on, goals was there, but physical conditioning and mental, I want to say mental stability has to be a part of what you engrave into these young ladies. Talk a little bit about that if you don't mind.
Yeah, I started pretty early having them run, and man, in August it was like I was killing them. And throughout the year, they would come up to me. I specifically remember a day Angelia came up to me and was like, "That wasn't hard," and she was so excited. And the mentality came with the work. As they worked more, that confidence came to them, and I didn't have to push it so much as they felt it. They felt confident because their stunts were hitting every single time. They felt confident because, yeah, we just ran, and now we're going to go continue practice. And as we got stronger and got those skills honed, that confidence and that mentality really came naturally to them, and I didn't have to push it as hard.
Lily, talk about the conditioning stages for that. There are always some that excel at the physical conditioning and then some that need a little support. Talk to me about the team building that conditioning did.
Yeah. Well, I think most of us had problems at the beginning, starting with exercising, because it was something we weren't really used to before, because we didn't have to do that for really previous years. But I think after everybody started doing it together and started developing more, that we kind of started to see like who could get done the fastest, and that really like made us push harder to see who could finish easier.
Would you have something to add to that, Angelia?
Yeah, it was definitely hard to start running at the beginning because it wasn't something that we were used to doing. But then after, it kind of was like a fun competitive way of like team bonding in a way to finish like the exercise before anyone else. So, yeah.
Coach, once they had bought into your system, bought into the conditioning and all that, then when you set goals, it makes it real easy to set the goals because they had already done the hard work. But there's one element of cheerleading I don't think gets discussed enough, and I'm going to bring that to you now. What about sportsmanship? Because all too often nowadays, I'm not going to say it's a little cheer competition, but yeah, there's some ladies on the other side of the gym. They want to get loud. Your team is trying to establish, but it's important to always remember you're cheering for your team, not against the other team, and maintaining a positive energy. How did you instill that? Because it doesn't ever, I won't say there won't ever be a match that it doesn't happen, but the other cheerleader is checking your team out, just like your team is checking them out.
Absolutely. And in OKCPS, all of the cheerleaders know most of the cheers that everybody's doing. So it was definitely a conversation piece every single time of like, hey, this is a basketball game. And really bringing them back into the game because that was, I mean, in the moment when basketball's exciting, they're all into basketball. And then when there's a timeout, they are not into basketball anymore. So getting them really into the sport that we were there for and using their sport to promote the other was what we had to focus more on because the sportsmanship and competition there between the cheerleaders is absolutely real, and it definitely motivated them. I remember at a specific basketball game, there was another squad and they were yelling really well and they were very loud, and these guys amped it up, and I have never heard them be so loud. So the competition both had to be a refining moment, but it also really helped them encourage themselves to be better and to do those things that had been hard for them.
If you're listening on your radio tonight, you are listening to the Northwest Class and Cheer Squad right now. The all-conference cheerleaders I have with me right now, Angelia Beaufort and Lily Harmon, and of course the ACAC Coach of the Year, Kaylee Seipert. Lily, will you look at the next level to continue cheering at the next level? Is that something that you aspire to do next year?
I have thought about it, but I'm not quite sure yet. I'm not really sure where my future is headed right
Okay.
now. So I think it's still a possibility for the future.
I think with the energy, I think if it's fun, I think it's right. I think Lily says it's all right. That's just me. That's what you asked me here. Now, going back on to Coach, I wanted to talk a little bit while we have a little bit of time left about competitive cheer. I mean, it is a serious thing. It's not just cheering for the teams anymore. Now there are competitions, national competitions. What's your plan for this cheer squad going forward?
Going forward, we are going to enter into our first competition next fall, and we are going to start working through the summer, which I don't think they have ever done. And it's going to be a new culture that we're setting that this year was a really great foundation, and these guys worked their butts off to set that foundation of the new culture that we're building. And next year, we are going to be working hard, and now that I've kind of gotten the ropes figured out, we're going to kind of tighten it up, and there's going to be a lot of conditioning and a lot of working, and it's going to be fun, but it's going to be a lot of work.
Angelia, does that kind of excite you about the future or something? I mean, we're going up levels now. We're going on the elevator, going up to another level. How do you feel about that?
Yes, I'm very excited about next year. Like, this is like all I really talk about is competing next year. When people come up to me at school, I'm like, yeah, come from this cheer team. We're going to compete next year. Like, it's going to be so fun, and I'm just so excited for it.
Before we start running out of time, I want to give Lily an opportunity for you to get some thank yous out there. There's some folks who have supported you, helped bring you to the practice in the early morning. Who do you want to thank for what you've learned along the way?
I'd like to thank all of my friends, first of all, and then I'd like to thank my coach, both my coaches actually, And then I'd like to thank the rest of the people on my team. I'm very grateful for all of them.
Angelia?
My biggest supporter, I would say, is my mom. She comes to all the games, and she makes sure that I'm well supported. Coach Cyper and Miss Reyes and all my teammates, because I wouldn't have a team without all my
Don't want to cut
teammates.
you out. Is Miss Reyes the other coach?
Yeah.
She is
Okay,
my-
we're not going to forget about you, Miss Reyes. Okay, I'm not going to let that happen. Okay, we're going to show you some love, but please continue.
And my friends. And, yeah, I think the team is a really big aspect of my thank yous, because I wouldn't be on the team if there wasn't other people.
Absolutely. Coach Seipert, there's been a lot of support, but you've been able to turn around and give life or help provide a stage and foundation for what this cheer squad's going to be. I mean, when did you really get back to sit back and smile? Is it when you see their faces, or has there been a moment that you're like, And you said you were an emotional person, and I believe that. But at what moment did you feel that?
I remember a really emotional moment for everybody. It was really cool when they hit their first stunt in a practice and then successfully cradled it down. There was screaming, there was yelling, there was jumping. They were so excited. And I went home that day and was just like, wow, we're doing it. We are doing the thing. And at that point, it was really like, all right, we have worked for 2 months, and we've got our first big stride today. And it felt like a big win.
Let me ask you, ladies, this before I ask Coach Seipert our final question before we go to break. Isn't it funny that how practice started off as tough, but by the end of the season, practice really isn't that tough at all? I mean, it's kind of like I love what Coach said about you, Angelia, when she said, that wasn't hard. I got this. Kind of tell everybody out there who wants to be a part and compete in cheer that if you do the work, it can turn into something good. What would you want to tell them?
Yeah, so I remember the first time we ever did a stunt, I was like, I can't do this. Bring her down right now. I can't do it. And then once we started doing it, it became more easy. And it was just the excitement when you hit it and you know that you can do it is an amazing feeling. And I think that's really great.
Lily?
Yes, I agree. And I think once you start to hit it and once you start to get motivated to do it, then it makes you want to keep pushing forward and to keep doing better and to learn more. So I think that's something that after all the hard work, there's always accomplishments afterwards.
Well, you can tell a tree by the fruit it bears, and if you've been watching this or listening to this, you can tell that there are some great things going on with Coach Seipert, who is an English teacher by day, and she's going to cheer you out at night. Coach, I wanted to say, just give a chance to talk about that bundle of joy of yours that had made you so emotional for a while. Tell us his name and give him a little bit of love real quick.
Yes, my sweet Court. He was born February 9th, and I'm on my maternity leave right now and getting to spend all my days snuggling him, and he's just the happiest, sweetest little guy.
That's pretty awesome. That's all I can say about that. It's a reason to cheer, folks. I want to make sure I take this break and take this opportunity as we get to go to break here. I want to thank our sponsors for tonight's broadcast: SNU, Southern Nazarene University, Casey's General Store, Scissortail Waste Solution, Automax, Grenmore Sneaker Boutique, and Big O's Pork and Dreams. That's just part one, folks. I want to give them some love. Will you put your hands together one more time for the Northwest Classic Cheer Squad? We're going to hit a break, and we'll be right back on the Oklahoma City Coaches Show. I'm Maurice Prince. We'll be right back.
It's time for one of the biggest events of the year, the Cowboys of Color Rodeo, that features blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and whites competing for the crown of Cowboys of Color and cash. Live this year is one of the queens of R&B, Kelly Price. Also featuring DJ Cool. This is all taking place Saturday, May 7th at the Jim Noyk Arena at the Oklahoma State Fairgrounds, with doors opening at 3:30, showtime 5:30. Get your tickets now at E6 or charge by phone 405-948-6800.
The thing with car buying nowadays is just how many options there are when it comes to where to actually get a car. Dealerships, websites, auctions, private sellers, and so on. But knowing exactly where to get your car loan makes it all much less stressful. That's where Communication Federal can help. There's a reason we're known for auto loans around here. Lots of car options, lots of places to buy, but only one choice for an auto loan. Communication Federal Credit Union.
Injuries don't wait. For business hours, now you can be seen 24/7 for sports injuries. Whether you have a sprain or a broken bone, at the SSM Health Bone and Joint Injury Clinic at 13401 Northwestern.
It's time for one of the biggest events of the year, the Cowboys of Color Rodeo that features blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and whites competing for the crown of Cowboys of Color and cash. Live this year is one of the queens of R&B, Kelly Price. Also featuring DJ Cool. This is all taking place Saturday, May 7th at the Jim Nordic Arena at the Oklahoma State Fairgrounds, with doors opening at 3:30, showtime 5:30. Get your tickets now at E6 or charge by phone 405-948-6800.
Oklahoma City, I'm Miles Perry, and I want you to tune in to my show, Super Prep Live.
Super Prep Live takes an in-depth look at the Oklahoma high school student athlete and what makes he or she become great at what they do. Super Prep Live can be heard on OKC's CBS Sports Radio 105.3 and Instagram Live.
Make sure you tune in and learn about the next great student athlete on Super Prep Live with me, Miles Perry.
Basic questions on the site, then claim the deals they show you and get $750 sent to your Cash App.
I'm always short on cash. I'm going to getcash23.com right now to claim my $750 Cash App.
Ready to claim your $750? Get started right now at getcash23.com. Go to getcash23.com. Just go to getcash23.com. Follow the simple instructions and claim your $750 fast and easy. Go to getcash23.com. Getcash23.com. That's getcash23.com. Go to getcash23.com. Getcash23.com. Getcash23.com.
This is Ice-T and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and
we're on a mission to get America to switch to cold water washing with Tide.
It saves you energy.
And that saves you up to $150 a year on your energy bill.
Plus, Tide cleans better in cold than the bargain brand in hot. So what are you waiting for?
Turn to cold because Stone Cold said so.
Turn to cold with Tide.
Energy savings based on average when switching from hot to cold and non-HE machines. Performance based on Tide Power Pod versus leading baking soda packs.
Okay, Coach Hill, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you pretty good.
Okay, is that too loud or is it not?
A little loud.
Okay, all right. How about that?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, Tylen, what you got?
Yep.
Okay, too loud?
Nope.
Okay. And then finally, Simonia. Simone, that's what I want to make sure I get it.
Based on coverage and limits selected, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on
Okay, Simone, how does it sound to you?
A little loud.
Okay.
If your office is reopening, Staples has you covered.
Back to the office.
Okay.
Back to
All
in-person meetings.
Staples has you covered.
In the office one
I'll
day,
come back,
home the next.
introduce the
I need
coach,
to be able
introduce
to
both
work
of you.
from anywhere.
And then we're going to have some questions. You just saw it's going to be the same basic
right
routine.
Now, save
We're just going to have some
$15 when
fun.
you spend $75
All right?
on select items. Everything you need for the office, home,
Now,
anywhere.
Simone,
Staples, the
1
working
year
and
in
learning store.
golf.
Ends 4/16.
Oh,
In-store only.
your mic
Coupon
wasn't on.
required. One per
Is it
customer.
2 years in?
In-store or staplesconnect.com for exclusions
Time.
and details.
Yeah, 2 years as well.
2 years.
Three.
Straight Talk Wireless now has the new iPhone 13 with cinematic.
We had that
which
one.
lets
COVID
you
year.
focus
Oh, yeah.
on what
I mean,
matters.
I guess
With Straight Talk,
Okay.
you can
All
focus
right.
on getting the best deal. Our Silver Unlimited plan is just $45 a month for unlimited
So your
talk,
mics
text,
are gonna
and
go
data.
dark until we
and
come
it runs
back.
on the largest,
So
most
just
dependable
second.
networks. Now with nationwide 5G. With the iPhone 13 on Straight Talk, you can share whatever you want, wherever you want. Straight Talk Wireless. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Oklahoma City Public School Coaches Show. I am your host for this evening, Maurice Prince, in for Michael McDaniel, who will return next week. So we're going to take it to another level, folks. We had Northwest Class and Cheer to start things off, and now we're going to talk a little bit of golf with Class and SAS. A little Comet Fever is in the building tonight. So I'm going to start off with our student athletes. I have senior Tyan Wallace. and junior Simone Sa. Is that correct? All right. First of all, and of course, I don't want to skip Coach Neil Hill, who is, of course, a graduate from my alma mater, University of Central Oklahoma. So, Tyan and Simone, I have to ask you, did either of you have a chance to catch the Masters this weekend? Any a glimpse, any of it at all? Just a little bit.
Yes.
All right, Simone, how about you?
Yeah.
All right. So, Simone, I'm going to come to you first. So, Simone, what was the most exciting part of the Masters golf tournament for you?
I think watching the players' short game, I think that really gave me a lot of tips on how I can improve my own. So, yeah.
All right. Tyan, what was the most impressive part about the Masters to you this year?
My favorite part about the Masters was seeing Tiger Woods after a long return. I feel like it was real impressive for him coming back and shooting what he shot, and I just thought that was very impressive for him.
Coach Hill, I'm going to come to you now. I obviously, as players, they see golf a little bit differently as players as opposed to those who watch it like myself, who've never picked up a set of clubs in my life other than miniature golf. My thing is to you is, how is it different from watching golf and when you're playing it versus just as just a regular fan?
Well, a regular fan, you're just, maybe unless you have like a favorite like Tiger or, some of these other golfers, you might be watching them close, but you're just enjoying it at the most. Because I was at the senior PGA. It was fun just watching all the different golfers hit and like the short game. But when you're playing it, it's so much more intense. And you're trying to beat your opponent, but also beat yourself. You want to do a better job each time.
Simone, talk to me a little bit about when did this idea, or when did the drive come? Where did you say golf is this for me? What made that happen?
So my first 2 years of high school, I actually played tennis, and then I had Coach Hill as my history teacher, and he asked me multiple times to join the golf team, and I was like, why not one day? And as soon as I went to my first practice, it was like one of the most fun sports I played, so I was like, this is my sport.
Tyan, for you, was it the same love? Well, I mean, what was that moment where you knew that this was the golf was going to be what I'm going to do?
Well, I've always had a passion for golf. It really started when I was about I want to say 8, 9, but never took it serious. So when high school starts, I started my sophomore year, then COVID struck. But after that, I officially started my junior year. So I'm here where I am now.
You say I am who I am now. So I mean that's just the fun about it. So when you're playing in a team concept, it's individual because again it's you in the course, but it's also teamwork that has to go on down with that. So Tyan, talk to me a little bit about the practice routine that you have to go through, and I'm going to ask Simone the same thing, about what do you have to do to get ready to be in game mindset to compete?
Okay. So I normally start off with the driving range. I practice there for about an hour to hour and 30 minutes. And then I move over to my chipping. And that's when I really focus and dial in on where I want to pick on my landing spots. So whenever I'm chipping, I would pick a landing spot on whatever area on the green. And then from there I move on to my putting, which I practice for about, I want to say an hour. And then just really focus on my 3 to 6 foot putts, because those are the money makers right there.
Those are money makers. Okay.
Yep.
Simone, how about you?
Same as Tylen, I usually start on the driving range. Usually I start with my irons because those are my favorite clubs to hit. And then I move on to my driver, and I stay on the range for about an hour. And then I move on to putting, which is probably the most essential part of the game and probably the hardest for me. And I practice that for about an hour.
Coach, when it comes down to talking about establishing these routines, you want players to understand the differences, and there's different levels to any sport. It's not you just walk up and show up and play. And I think golf sometimes is the most understood sport in that regard, because you what you perceive is easy There's a lot of work that goes into it. So when you came out before the season, because you're in a season right now, getting competitive, how do you get the kids prepared, get their level of understanding, and then get them established where they can learn how to play?
Luckily, through Donors Choose and our parents and donors, we've been able to build an inside hitting range. So we have like 3 or 4 hitting nets. Well, we had 4, but somebody broke one of mine.
Who did that? Who did that?
Mr. Tylen.
Oh, I just don't believe that. I don't believe that's true.
And he broke it with a 3-wood, so that's so we're down to 3 hitting nets now. But they were able to practice a lot of times indoors when the weather was bad, if we had rain, or we'd just go outside and hit. We also have 2 of the perfect pitch, perfect putt mats, so we've been able to practice on that. And the big thing is just teaching them the swing, getting the swing down, getting it. I don't even get to watch these guys practice because I'm usually working with the other kids, the younger ones, to get them ready. But the big thing is we were able to. We've added a lot of stuff this year, and we're hoping to continue next year.
What I love about what you said, and I think people need to understand, is having the right equipment is so important to be able to help the kids progress. And I love what you said at class, and those tools are there and more are coming. Have you seen, because of that, more students wanting to be active in the sport of golf?
We started 3 years ago with Tylen and Wyatt and one other girl. It was like there was just 2 of us, 2 or 3, and we built up a team. We had 8 kids. This year we had 24 out for golf. And we got 14 girls out. We've got 10 boys out. And I'm only losing 2 seniors. So, and we've already, today I was told there were 3 or 4 more kids coming out next year.
What tremendous growth. Tyan and Simone, can you talk to me about the growth you've seen just from the people participating? I mean, beforehand it was you, and you look behind you, there was not many other people standing there besides a mannequin behind me. But needless to say, have you seen this, and what has that done for you in terms of your encouragement and also seeing other folks wanting to get involved?
Yes, so when we first started, like what Coach said, it was only a couple of us. Then as time went on, I went out and just socialized, got more people out there. And as I noticed the growth, I was like, wow, this is actually happening. And this is actually going to help us create a better and like have more people on the golf team. So I feel like that was pretty important for us.
I think having such a big team, especially like a team that is so close, like the girls' team is really helpful, especially like before tournaments. We just have fun, we laugh, we talk, we socialize, and that really puts me in a better mindset for the tournament. And it's just really refreshing to have a team that encourages you and helps you do better and compliments you when you hit good. It's just a really good environment to be in. And I think this team has been one of the best teams I've gotten to play on. So.
You're in the middle of a season now. What's your best moment so far in this season right now?
Probably last tournament, I really got my drive in good shape, and I was probably hitting some of the best drives of my season. So that was really fun. So, yeah.
Ty?
My best moment was when I eagled one of the holes, and I hit a 400-yard drive and hit a chip in for eagle, which was like 19 yards out.
Okay, I see you. I see you. When you start talking about those moments, what would you say that has been the biggest improvement in your game from last year to this year, Taya?
I would say my biggest improvement was, or is, I want to say my chipping in a way. I mean, I've also upgraded my clubs, so just using different technology or newer technology has also helped me improve my game. But I would say chipping the most.
Simone?
Like I was saying, my drives probably have really improved this season. I started out probably hitting my irons farther than my drives, so yeah, being able to hit almost 200 yards on my drives has been really cool.
Talk to me a little bit, because I'm a novice in this. What makes you select the correct iron? You know, I mean, a lot of folks don't really understand what makes you say, okay, I need to grab my driver here. I understand a putter and basic things like that, but when they say a 9-iron, things like that, what situations dictate from both of you what clubs you should use for which situation?
Well, it all depends on where you are and the lie you have on the course. And this is also where knowing your distances come in handy. So for me, I have a rangefinder, and I personally know all my irons from pitching wedge all the way up to 4-iron and how far they can go. So that's just with me memorizing how far each club can go. And, yeah, just pretty much your course management, because you can't use the same club or same iron for every distance.
Simone?
Yeah, I think starting when practicing, noticing how far I'm hitting with each iron, and then like implementing that onto the course. So if I'm 150 yards out, I know to use my 6. If I'm 100 yards out, I'll probably use a 9. Just knowing that through practice, that's how I figure that out.
Coach, it sounds like you have players that not only love what they're doing, but they are fired up about it. Have an understanding and key knowledge that the average novice person doesn't have. Is that something that we spend time with in the off season, or is that something that we're learning as we are going through?
It starts with the off season when we're able to December able to hit the driving range. They start learning how far they can hit, and I can tell them, okay, what club did you use? And they can tell me, I said, okay, that's the club you use at that distance. And then when we get on the course, we'll play 4 or 5 holes, and they'll get to learn how far they can hit it. And that's the best part, better than the driving range, and it's beneficial. It pays off.
It certainly does. Understanding what clubs to use, how do you teach the swing, Coach? I mean, because there are people, you know, we've heard the yips and heard of a lot of other things that go on when it comes to the swing. How do you get them started in the right path so that they develop a good swing?
This year we were lucky to get a swing coach for the first 2 months. So we were for the girls, so she was able to work with them a lot, just getting the range perfect, the perfect plane. And like today we were working on a kid, one of the boys, just working on practice getting that right plane so they can make contact and move the ball forward. And it's practice. It's a lot of practice.
And speaking of practice, we've talked about that a little bit. If you're listening on your radio this evening, we've got the Comets in the house. We are talking with the class and SAS boys and girls golf team, 2 representatives. We have senior Tylen Wallace and junior Simone Sa, and of course with head coach Neil Hill. Coach, let's go back to the practice plans if we can go to it a little bit here. I've heard this drill, and you smiled when I mentioned it earlier, even though I didn't know exactly what I was saying per se, but I'm going to say the ladder drill.
Yeah.
Describe a little bit about the ladder drill and how that's instrumental in development.
Well, you get 4 or 5 balls, 3 feet, 6 feet, 9 feet, 12 feet, 15 feet, and they have to sink every putt in a straight line. If they miss, they have to go back and do it again, start all over again. And it gets the rhythm down to it's all muscle memory. How much muscle do you need for a 3-foot putt compared to a 15-foot putt? Because it's totally different. You can see it with the beginning golfers. They'll blast a 3-foot putt 20 feet past the hole. Smalley laughs. But that's one of the drills. Just practicing the 3-foot putt. When we're on the putting green, I tell them get your 3-foot putts down, get your 5 putts down, and go from there.
Now, I mean, when you describe the ladder drill like that, it sounds like the basketball version of suicides.
It is.
Because that's exactly what it is, and that's something what it is. So, you know, Tylen, you're smiling as I talk about the ladder drill. How many times have you recently had to do that?
Oh, countless amount of times.
Simone?
Yeah, it's grueling when you're doing it, but then when you're on the course, it's like, wow, I'm really glad that I stood there and putt from the same distance 20 times.
Yep. Let me ask you, you guys have, I think you have 2 meets this week, or 2, is that correct term?
The boys?
Yes, two meets this week. So let's talk about in-game situations here. You're on the 3rd hole, and you get a bad lie. What's the difference now, Simone, of how you handle that now than what you handled it back then?
So definitely back then, I would probably have started to stress a little bit and really overthink my swings and end up hitting even worse than I probably could have. And now I try to relax, just swing the ball like I normally do, take one practice swing, and just try to get back in focus. Something that Coach Hill teaches us is to only keep score of every 3 holes. So once those 3 holes are done, I just move on to the next set of 3, and that really helps me focus on hitting the ball right instead of what my score is.
Tylen, you strike me as an individual who you say you use technology to the fullest. Talk to me a little bit about when the wind is blowing, how you see elements. How has that changed in your game from this year to last year? How you're able to see the lie, where the ball lies, and things like that. How has that changed for you?
Yes, this is also where course management comes in handy. In certain situations, like the wind, I would say, you can't use the same club because the wind it's either affecting you, or just hurting you. And whenever I have wind in front of my face, for an example, if it's like 10-mile-an-hour wind, then I'll go one club up, or if it's 20, then I go 2, 30, 3 clubs up. So that's just really your course management.
Now, in terms of your discipline, is that something that you've mastered along the way? Because your confidence is oozing at this table, young man, about how you are able to see and how you're able to progress with things. So talk to me a little bit more about, okay, do you look at the course before? Because you're a student here. I'm listening to you talk. A tactician. Are you looking at the course itself, knowing when you want to pace, how you're doing those things? Because what folks sometimes misunderstand is it's not just 1, 2, and 3. As the coach says, it's 3 holes at a time. How do you, game day, when you first walk out off the first tee, how do you approach each hole mentally?
Mentally, I use a technique Tiger Woods uses. So even if I hit a bad shot, I would walk 10 steps, and then after those 10 steps, I would just completely forget about the hole and then move on to the next shot. Because then if I still have if I'm still thinking about that the shot that I hit previously, then that's just going to cause me to lose focus and then just make me just score in scores I don't want to hit at all.
Coach, I want to talk a little bit about team golf scoring a little bit. I want everybody to kind of get an idea of how that works, because it's not based just on Tyan or Simone's individual performance. So how does the team concept, how do you win, how do you place, those type of things?
We bring 5 golfers. This is why we have a luxury. We're able to bring 5 golfers, and we keep the top 4 scores. And that's a big deal because, like this week, we're playing in a weird, as I said, we got Kingfisher and Tecumseh, so our top 4 scores count. The 5th one gets kicked out, and then our top four scores compete against Heritage Hall, Cushing, whoever else is there.
Now, you guys are also gearing up for regionals that's coming up as well. So, guys, congratulations on being able to compete at that level. It's showing the dedication that you've had to your craft. How exciting is it for this moment in the golf season right now? You're right there before, playoffs, state, talking about state tournaments now. What's your mindset, Simone, right now?
I'm feeling pretty good. We actually played the regionals course last week, and I scored my best score of my season, both seasons.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm just going to try not to think about it, try not to stress about it, and just go out there and hit the ball as best as I can. So,
Tyan?
Yeah, same thing what Simone said. Try not to stress too much about it. So I feel like that if I can just go out there and just play my game, then I feel that I'll have the confidence and then just go out there and shoot my best. But I can't think about it too much, because then if I do, then I'll just shoot a worse score.
Let's not do that. We want to keep all positive thoughts going on. Coach, all the things that these young people are shown and have talked about today shows about another strong foundation that has been laid. What are you eager to see in regionals this week?
Well, this week is tournament.
I'm sorry.
This week, the boys get to play the same course they're going to play in regionals. So that's going to be really beneficial. They're going to learn, because I got 3 freshmen. So they're going to learn this course, and it has some tricky shots. And this will benefit us as we get ready to go to regionals. And we're going to see the teams we're going to play in regionals this week. This is the week we get to see all our opponents, and we're going to find out how good they are, and we'll find out how good we are.
All right. Now, that being said, what will be, because the season's not over, so I don't like taking away and talking about what you review, because we're seeing it. We want state. That's what we want. We want some hardware to go with this season. So to this date, Tyan, I think I asked a version of this question earlier, but I'm going to ask it now. Your best moment this point. What is that best moment? I mean, you stated it earlier, and please don't talk about tearing up the golf net, but Nate, give me some other things that you have learned that that you're going to be able to display it as the season starts to wind down a little bit.
I feel that as the season is starting to wind down and the things that I've learned, I've come a long way, especially how late I've started in the game. So I feel that if I continue this journey that I'm on right now, then I'll be able to move on to the higher levels that I want to. And I feel that yeah.
Okay, well that's fine. I mean, that's a great answer. Simone, how about you?
I think it's just been great to learn just specifics of the course, how to improve my game specifically. And like I was saying, having a team that provides a good environment just helps me play instantly better on the course. So I just hope that our team stays as strong as we are, and I think that will just help me improve even more.
Is there anyone, either one, I'll go to you first, Simone, you'd like to thank for supporting you? I mean, first of all, when it comes to support, Class and SAS has got one of the best. I hope I'm not being shy about that. Am I being shy about that, Class and parents out there? Yeah, I didn't think so. In terms of, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
I'd like to thank Coach Hill for nagging me again and again and again all year long to join the team until I did. So yeah, I would really like to thank him and my parents for always letting me pursue whatever sport I wanted to play.
It's wonderful to have parents like that, Tyan.
First, I would like to thank my parents, my mom and dad, for helping me and pushing me to get to the level that I am at now. And I would also like to thank my coach and my teammates for helping me and guiding me along the way.
Coach Hill, one thing I'd like to state as we get ready to wind down for today is Oklahoma City Public Schools is putting an effort into some of the sports that you don't always get to see get as much highlight, as much love as other districts might. Yes, we know about football. Yes, we know about basketball. But, what about golf? And, I mean, having a chance to see that growth, giving students other opportunities, how important is that?
Oh, that's big. Like, we got hats, like that hat there. We've got windsuits. They've been able to, even our shirts, they've been able to take care of us, and very sportive. They let us go to these tournaments, compete, and that's the only way we're going to get better is competing, and we have to go to the big tournaments. And they've been very supportive in letting us go.
We wish you luck. I hope we can have you here so you can talk about the hardware that you have a little bit later on. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap up this week's edition of The Coaches Show. I want to thank our sponsors, SNU, Southern Nazarene University, Casey's General Store, Scissortail Waste Solutions, Automax, Grinmore Sneaker Boutique, and Big O's Pork and Dreams, and, of course, Dick's Sporting Goods. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week. Same time, same place. It's the Oklahoma City Coaches Show. Have a great night.
It's time for one of the biggest events of the year, the Cowboys of Color Rodeo that features blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and whites competing for the crown of Cowboys of Color and cash. Live this year is one of the queens of R&B, Kelly Price. Also featuring DJ Cool. This is all taking place Saturday, May 7th at the Jim Nordic Arena at the Oklahoma State Fairgrounds, with doors opening at 3:30, showtime 5:30. Get your tickets now at E6 or charge by phone 405-948-6800.